Kal here with...
Probably know me, Steph.
That works. Alright, so we're going to show you a few techniques today. Single leg, double leg, and a soto gari. So this is the way that I like to do it. You know, as I said, as you'll see in the videos, there's a few different ways you can do it. This is the way I like to do it. You know, Coach Sarah might do it a different way. That's
Butt scooter.
yeah, it's more of a butt scooter. He doesn't do much wrestling, but you know, he will show you his way as well. So when you're rolling, try your best to start from standing. You know, you give it a go. If you're not comfortable standing up, you know, really practice those break falls. Once you're not scared of standing up anymore, you can really try and do these techniques. I find they're very important. All right, you want to have a game of everything. You don't want to just be a butt scooter like that. You know, try and do some wrestling as well. All right, it's very handy. Okay, but yeah.
Remember, no one likes a guard pull.
Yeah, no one likes a guard pull. Alright, but yeah, so a few things I want to see when you try to do these techniques. So this is more for the kids. Just try your best to do them. If you can get them to roll, awesome. I want you to try and tell myself or any other coaches that you got it. If you struggle with it, I want you to try and leave a comment, and then we can do a video on it. Okay, so it's really good. You tell us a bit of feedback, like what you struggle with. For the adults, 3 things. If it's your first time doing this, or if you have variants, okay, do it with a partner that's not resisting. All right. Once you get the hang of it, you got the movements, then they can do 40% resistance. So that resistance, that's not just like strength, but it's more like, you know, whether the posting on your head, trying to get that leg to the ground, just trying to be a bit of a nuisance. Okay. Then if you're able to get that while they're resisting 40%, then try and do it in a live roll. If you do that, then you know that's perfect. Okay. If you can't, same thing. I want you to comment, tell us what you did well, what you struggled in, like what your partner maybe did well to stop you, and then yeah, we can work on it together as a team. A few drills that's going to help these techniques we've done today. Some of them you do by yourself, solo drills, and some you do with a partner. Okay. So when it comes to takedowns and wrestling, it's very important that you have good balance. All right. So a few things I like to do. So you know, we did the soto gari. All right. One thing I like to do, I'll have my leg out in front of me. Right. I'm going to reach it back behind. It's even good if you have something on the ground. You try and like pick something up. All right. You try and like work on your balance, nice and slow. You take your time. Then you come back. And you try and drop it back again. Alright, so that's like a really good one. Also, you're going to try and alternate, do like 10 aside. Okay. Other ones, you know, you're going to take it down. You need to know how to do your break falls. Alright. We show you all the time. Well, I'm going to show you again. Alright. So go off to the side. So trying to tuck my chin. Alright. Squatting down. So squats, another good one. Alright. I try to like work on my squats all the time. So see when I'm squatting, I'm trying to make sure my heels stay on the ground. I don't want to go on my tippy toes. Alright, so there's like a lot on like the hips. So I'm gonna squat. I like to have my hands out in front of me. Alright. I see a lot of people, mainly kids, but some adults do it as well, is they try and reach behind before they sit down. Alright, I don't want you to do that. Try and keep your hands out in front as like a counterbalance. Keep my chin on my chest. I'm gonna sit down. Now I tuck in like a ball. So I keep my knees glued to like my chest, rock back, hands gonna go next to my side. Alright. If my hands go higher than my shoulder, that's when you can start hurting your shoulder, alright? I see a lot of people try and do this as well. This is no good, alright? I've seen people break their collarbones doing like this, okay? So arms straight, chin on my chest, so my head doesn't hit the ground, alright? Whether it's just for a break fall or you're doing your backward roll again. Okay, so I'll show you. So here, I'm gonna squat down, have a bit of a counterbalance, try and keep my heels on the ground, chin on my chest, sitting down without bringing my hands back. So my hands are staying in front, alright? As my back hits the ground, my knees are to my chest, hands, my palms, not my knuckles, my palms, next to my hips, not higher than my shoulders, okay? So we talked about those lunges, the squats. I also like to do lunges, right? So really important when we're doing those single leg takedowns. So I can either step back, lunge. I don't like to have my knee on the ground. Now, I think this is cheating, but if you ask Vass, this is how he likes to do it. He likes to have his hands on his front leg. I don't like doing that, okay? I also don't like having my knee touching the ground. So just off, and I push back. Or you can step forward, All right, stepping forward, same thing. I don't like to use my hands, so just keep it by my side. Hands on my head if you want. Don't let your knee touch the ground, and then push back. Okay. Last one, another balance one. So this is the partner drill. Okay. So a few different ways we can do it. All right. So my partner's just gonna this side. All right. So trying to keep her hip level. Now I'm not trying to really make her fall down. All right. This is just good balance for her. All right. So you can grab here, or even like in front like this. All right. So I'm gonna walk forward, walk back, and go off to the side. Let's see if this balance is good. So here. All right. Circling. Very good. All right. Fantastic. And then we obviously switch sides, and we can both have a go. The next one is when we're both going to do it. So she's going to give me the leg. Sorry. I want to give her mine. Now, my goal is not to lift the leg and make her fall down. The goal is for both of us to stay upright. Okay. Now we're doing the same thing, except we're both hopping. All right. So you can go back, and I go to the side, and going. There we go. Now, if you've done this for a bit, you're both pretty good. Now you can make it a bit of a competition. I can start trying to lift hers, she can try and lift mine. She can even I can even try and cross it against my body. Sure. Like, yeah, look at that one. Very good. Alright, so she took me down. Alright, so there are a few things that I like to do for the takedowns. Okay. So soto gari, okay? So grabbing the head, I'm going to grab the outside of the elbow. I want to step my front foot next to hers. My back foot is going to come in between mine and hers, and then I want to kick behind. So grabbing the elbow, grabbing the head, right? I'm going to step, I'm going to lean forward, my back leg comes through, and then I'm just going to kick. Alright, so intermediate soto gari, okay? So, grabbing onto the head, I'm going to grab on the outside of the elbow. Alright, I always want to go for their front foot. So I'm going to step my foot next to hers. I want to try and push the elbow in, and I'm leaning forward. So she's already off balance. My back leg can come through, the back of my knee hits the back of hers, and I'm going to do like a Superman. So my right hand is going to push forward. She does a nice break forward. So again, get my grips, the collar tie, grabbing the outside of the elbow. I'm going to step my foot forward, pushing the elbow in. My right hand's going to push forward, so it's already leaning back. Back leg comes through, back of my knee hits the back of hers. Alright, so advance to soto gari, okay? So I'm getting my grips, I've got the collar tie, grab the outside of the elbow, alright? Try to be nice and low. I don't want to stand nice and tall, I want to be low. Alright, my foot is going to step next to hers. I'm going to push my right hand forward, my left hand is going to push the elbow in. So it's already leaning back, alright? My back foot is going to come through, back of my knee, it's the back of her knee. I don't want to put my foot on the ground, so then she can do it back to me, alright? So back of my knee is the back of hers. I'm going to try and raise my foot to the ceiling, alright? So I'm stepping, my foot goes to the ceiling, and I'm just going to push, alright, like Superman. I'll show you again. So grips, collar tie, elbows, I'm nice and low. My front foot is going to take a step. I like to step my heel behind hers, in front of hers. I'm stepping, I'm pushing the elbow in, my back foot comes through, the back of my knee can hit the back of hers. I don't want to plant my foot. Alright, so I'm kicking through, my foot is going to face the ceiling, and I'm going to push my hand on the collar. Alright, so it's a nice break forward. Alright guys, so a few common mistakes, alright, when people do soto gari, alright, is a lot of people like to step, they don't step deep enough, alright? So if I'm stepping and I'm leaning back, no good. All right, like if I try to bring my back leg, yeah, I'm off balance. All right, so that's one thing. So you really have to make sure. So when I'm stepping, I like my heel to be behind hers. Then that's a deep enough step. Okay, if I'm too shallow, like toe to toe, I'm normally going to be off balance. All right, so that's number one. Number two, after I step, I really like to push this elbow in. All right, if she's standing nice and strong, nice and tall, really easy for her to counter me. So I want to try and make her off balance already. So she's got to deal with that instead of trying to counter me. All right. Number three is planting my foot on the ground. All right. As I said, if I plant my foot on the ground, all right, one, she can counter me, so she can do it back. All right. And two, I want to try and make sure I'm raising my foot up to the ceiling. So if I just like kick here, right, it's not that good. I really like to lift. Like I didn't really try that. All I did was lift my leg. So really try and lift, tension glute. Okay? That's a really easy way to do a single leg takedown, okay? Obviously it's all no gi. Alright, so still getting my collar grip, still grabbing onto the elbow. I want to step my front foot on the outside of hers. I want to listen to her heart. Alright, so my head is on the inside. I give her leg a big cuddle and I want to try and pick it up. Okay? So again. I get my grips. So I always like my strongest hand on the neck. Other hand is going to grab onto the elbow. My front foot is going to take a step on the outside of hers. My ear is going to go on her chest. I want to listen to her heart. I want to try and give her leg a big cuddle and I pick it up and I try and put her leg in between mine. So grips, collar tie, I'm going to grab onto the elbow, swim on the inside, flare my elbow. My foot is going to take a step. Very important, my ear goes on her chest. I keep my hand on her head until I get my first grip with my hand, let go of the head, and I'm going to reach for the ankle. Alright? Use my legs to pick her leg up, pinch in between my knees, my head stays to the inside. So advanced way that I like to go for a single leg. Alright? So still got my collar tie, I'm still grabbing on the outside. I swim, okay? Now before I step with my leg, I want to try and pull her towards me. It makes it easier if she comes half the distance, okay? So I'm going to pull with my hands as my foot takes a step. And see how I really lift my elbows. I'm really flaring, alright? I'm making sure my back is straight. So I don't want to be looking at the ground, alright? Use my legs, not my back, alright? So I still have that collar tie. I'm going to give her leg a big cuddle. I'm reaching for the ankle. Now, sometimes it's really hard to lift the leg up. So yeah, she put all the weight in that leg. So I'm going to use my shoulder to push. I'm trying to drive her forward. I want to make her take a few steps on that back leg. All right, making this leg nice and light. So I grab, I'm going to push, and I drive a little bit. Okay. So once I've got the leg, I'm still making sure my ear stays on the inside. I don't want my head on the outside here. Okay. We'll cover that in a second. So ear on the inside, and I still like to control the leg. Okay. So from a different angle. So I'm here. Yeah. So I've got my grips. One, my hand is on the elbow. Swim on the inside. I'm going to pull as I take a step. So I'm lifting my elbow. Alright? Here. Boom. I get my grip. I get my second grip. See how I'm bending my legs. My back is nice and straight. Alright? I'm going to use my shoulder to push on the outside of her leg. I want to make it take a few steps. Straight away, I'm going to try and put her foot on the in between my legs. My ear is on the inside. Alright? Very important too, I like to keep my hand one high, one low. I don't like both hands high. So when I can transition, I'll show you that in a second as well. Okay? So common mistakes, okay? So let's say that Steph goes for her single leg. Alright, so one thing, look, her head is on the outside. Alright, no good. If it's on the outside, very easy for me to start trying to choke it. Okay? Also very easy, very easy for me to start trying to push her away. Right? Or even scroll on her. Alright, so it's very important that she's got to step her leg on the outside, her hand's going to be on the inside. Now see, she's doing a good job, she's bending with her legs. Right? If her legs are straight, she's looking at the ground, same thing. She wants to stay connected to me. My job is to disconnect, so I'm trying to push her away. I can step my leg back, I can scroll on her. Alright, so it's very important that you're bending with your legs, trying to look forward. Alright, the next thing, she's got my leg, right? Just pick my leg up. So see how she's got her right hand on my ankle. Alright, this is very good for her. If she just grabs onto my hands together, she's like here. Makes it very easy for me to stop my foot to the ground. Alright, so if someone's trying this to me and they were grabbing onto my ankle, I'll be able to connect on the head, connect on the arm, and I'll stop back down. right, and get my foot free. All right, so it's very important that when we're picking that leg up, we're trying to grab the end of the lever. Right, so if I'm holding here, she can try as much as she wants, try and get that foot back to the ground. That foot is mine. Okay, I can take it out. There's nothing she can do about it. Okay, well, it's very hard to get it. So that was just like an entry for the single leg, one of many. All right, so there's many that I do, and there's other ones as well. I'll show you a few ways I like to finish. Okay, so really basic. All right. If I can't get the one leg, I always have the option of going for number two. All right, so I'm holding onto the leg. All I'm going to do is wrap my hands around. Now it's up to you. You can use air grip, you can use an S grip, or you can simply just cup onto behind the knee. All right, I'm going to drop my knees to the ground. I'm trying to pull their knees together. All right, so that's a nice good break forward when I take her down. All right, so it's option number one. All right, I'm just going to go higher and higher, like a little bit harder each time. Then you can decide what you want to do. All right. The second one that I like to do is the hand that had the ankle. So it's another reason I like to grab with the ankle. All right. It's going to stay there. My other hand is going to reach for the hip. I'm going to step off. All right. So do like a bit of a sumo squat. All right. So her leg can sort of rest on mine, make it a little easy for my hand. My foot is going to go behind hers, and I'm going to pull with my hand on the hip. So I'm trying to take her back. So I'm not kicking it out. I'm simply stopping her from taking a step back, and then I'm going to pull. As I pull with my right hand, I'm going to raise my left. Right. And I still want to maintain control. I don't want to just drop it. Right. So, show that one again. Right. So I'm here, hold the ankle, got nice and high. I'm going to grab onto the hip. I'm going to step my leg, then as closest to her belly, I want to step off. I do a bit of a sumo squat, so her leg can rest on mine. My other foot is going to step behind. So notice that I bring my foot in. If my feet are too far apart, I'm really off balance. So I'm bringing my leg in. I'm going to simply hook her foot here. I'm going to pull my hand on the hip, and I'm going to raise. And I gently put it down. All right, really easy. Another option. All right, we're going to like walk around the pipe. All right, so very important. My head says inside. I'm going to use my ear and my head to push on her leg. All right, I'm still maintaining those two grips. I'm going to step my leg that's closest to her back. I step straight back behind me. So without her, I'm doing like a bit of a lunge. All right, and all I'm going to do is rotate. So I'm lunging the other way. So I'm here, all right, still got my grips. My right leg, with the leg closer to the back, steps back behind me. I'm trying to drop my knee really close to the ground. I'm going to use my head and my hand to pull. See, I'm finishing that lunge. And she's going to go down. All right. A few common mistakes that I see when people do these three techniques, okay? So the first one is when we're trying to go from a single to like that double leg, right? So when I let go of this leg and I try and reach for the other one, then I relax my legs and she's able to like get her leg free, she starts kicking away and disconnecting, okay? So it's very important that I'm trying to keep those knees pinched together so my feet are together, all right? I don't want to have like my feet apart. It's very hard and really easy for her to get her leg free. So I'm trying to keep those feet pinched, those knees pinched, as I switch between one leg to the other. Right? Even when I drop my knees to the ground, my legs are still pinched. Okay? The other one is when I'm grabbing onto the hip and I'm trying to step off. Okay? And I mentioned it before, but if I try and reach my foot here, I don't want my legs apart. Right? My balance is very bad from here, okay? So I like to step that leg in, and then the other one can come across, right? Makes it very easy to then start trying to take it down, right? If for like, you know, I'm trying to, like, I've got the hip, right, I'm stepping off, but as I try and like bring my foot in, she starts trying to push me away, yeah? So it's like, most people are gonna try and push on the head, and I tend to lose this grip on the hip. What I'll do is I'll just come back to the leg, right? And then like a few options, you can try and get the leg on your shoulder, or I can simply turn and face her. I want to try and get the toes facing the ceiling, like even now she's like, ugh. Again, all I want to do is start lifting the foot up. I can walk forward, I start walking back, and balance is not very good. Okay? Alright, so that's like another option. If I'm losing that grip on the hip, I just go for the foot, and I try and raise her toes to the ceiling. Alright? If I'm doing that, and she's able to turn her toes to the ground, yeah, she starts kicking her leg free. So it's very important that the toes face the ceiling. Last one, when I'm trying to run the pipe here, alright? A lot of people will step the wrong leg back. So remember, the leg closest to the back, at the moment that's my right leg, that's the one that's got to step back. If I step this one, right? One is very hard to turn this way, most people turn here, right? It's like pops it out, and I have to go back to this one, alright? So I've got to step the leg that's closest to the back. And the other thing that people get wrong is when they're stepping them right like that, they disconnect their head. So the head goes from the inside to the out. Now it makes it very easy for her to get guillotines or push my head again. Yeah. Alright, now I'll lose that grip. So I'm going to keep my head on the inside, step the leg that's close to the back, straight behind me. Okay. Alright guys, so basic way that I like to do a double leg, right? We're going to start with the same grips, just makes it easier, okay? So I always like to get my strongest hand on the neck, right? My other hand is just going to grab onto the elbow. So normally they always have one leg forward, right? If they stand like this, then I can pick whatever leg I want to go for. But normally they have one leg forward. That's the leg that I like to put my head like on the outside, okay? So I've got my grips. Now, her arm's sort of in the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to squat down, I'm going to level change, I'm going to pull this arm up, I'm going to drop my knees to the floor. So I'm going to have knee on the inside and knee on the outside, okay? So I'm here. My hands are going to go from the head and the elbow to behind the knees. So I'm not trying to hug the hips. I'm trying to snake, right? Like snakes, snaking behind the knees, right? My hand's gonna pull, my feet are gonna push, my shoulder's gonna push, and I use my head, I keep it connected, right? Nice and easy. Like I might end up in a guard, I can always push her legs to the side, start trying to pass as well. Okay, so I'll show you again. All right, so grips, got the collar tie, she's got hers, I've got the elbow, all right? I'm going to squat down. I want to lift the elbow up, right? Because if I try and squat and her arm's in the way, it's like a block, right? I need to get rid of it. So I'm going to lift it up. I'm going to level change. Knee on the inside, knee on the outside. My hand's going to snake behind the knees. See, I'm on my toes here, so I'm pushing off the ground. Use my shoulder to push into the belly. My ear is on the side of her hip, and I'm using my hands to pull. She goes down. Guys, so the intermediate way of going for a double leg that I like to do, okay? So the grips are still the same as before, I actually still got hers, I've still got the elbow, alright? Very important that I'm trying to pull, alright? My goal is to get underneath her hips. So if I'm like far away here, I don't want to reach, and it's very hard, alright? So when I am trying to get underneath, I'm going to try and penetrate with my knee. So I'm pulling with my hands like before, I'm still squatting underneath, I'm still flaring with the elbow, alright? All the same. Now, instead of just dropping my knee straight to the ground, I actually want to take a little step with my front foot. Alright, so as I pull her towards me, I take a bit of a step. Alright, so my goal is to get my knee behind hers. Even before I start using my hands, I want her to take a few steps back. So I'll show you, right? So if I drop my knee, see how she's already starting to take a few steps back. Okay, so that's what I want. Alright, so I'm really trying to get that penetration with my knee. So I'm pulling, I'm raising, I take a little step. Alright, still lowering my base. Knees hit the ground. My hand's going to snake behind the knees. I like to leave this knee off the ground so I can really push off the floor. Right? I'm gluing my ear to her ribs, pulling with my hands. Right, and I take like a bit of a step to that back leg. Alright, so show you again. So grips, still the same. Lift the elbow, pull, take a step. See I make a little step with my front foot, my knee goes behind hers. So my shoulder connects. My hand's going to snake behind, my back knee stays off the ground to push off the floor. Take a bit of a step here. Okay. Double leg, a bit more advanced here, so a bit more steps. Okay, so I'm still getting my grips, she's still got hers. Alright, so it's up to you, like you can grab the outside, you can grab onto the inside. Like it doesn't really matter as long as you're able to get rid of that arm. So if I'm grabbing the inside, I can still flare, I can still get underneath. Alright, if you grab the outside, if you feel that it's easier this way to flare this way, by all means go for it, okay? Like it's not just one way to do something. As long as you can get that end result, that's all that really matters, okay? So nice and low, so I never want to be upright. So I'm here. I like to make sure that I'm framing with my right arm, okay? I don't want her doing it back to me, so it's very important that I'm keeping my elbow in, alright? So I'm here, I'm pulling her towards me, I'm still taking my step. So one thing that I like to do that I see like when people get wrong is they have like really wide base here, okay? I like to have my feet a little bit closer. It makes it easier to sprawl, like my reaction speed's a little bit better. So easier to sprawl and easier to move in. Whereas if I'm back here, it makes it very hard to, like there's that split second where she's got more time to react, okay? So when I'm doing it, whether it's this grip doesn't really matter. I like to have my feet a little bit closer, alright? My head is just over my toes, so I'm taking that step, I'm still pulling with my hands, alright? It's very important, see like my knee is behind her foot, and I'm trying to use my head to push. Alright, so I'm not just going like looking up to the ceiling, but I'm pushing in. Alright. Whenever I'm going for a double leg, if I'm looking down, really easy for her to sprawl on me, really easy for her to get me in a guillotine. Alright, so I'm trying to use my ear and I'm pushing into her armpit. It makes it very hard for her to do any chokes or even like hard for her to get her hand on the inside and start trying to push me away. Okay? Still snaking. So I'm never hugging here, snaking. Now, back knee still off the ground, but I'm stepping forward, right, off to the side. So like you can finish it by all means, but like, and you can still like pass, right? You see like a lot of the time people get trapped in half guard or close guard. So what I like to do is cut the angle a bit more. So when I'm down here, I'm looking up to the ceiling and across here, I'm stepping my foot. Now, very important that the hand that's on the other side of my head, I'm pulling my elbow to my ribs, so I'm pulling that knee in. So I'm collapsing the knee, and then I'm taking it that way, all right? So I'm here, I'm pushing, I'm gonna pull, and I'm gonna lift. All right, so then I'm starting to look at like my passing. Okay, so I'll show you again from a different angle. All right. Oh, you can't go that way. Yep. So I'm here, all right, so I'm pulling with this hand. So elbow's coming in, my back leg takes a step, I'm gonna raise, and I'm looking up to the ceiling, and then she goes down. Okay, so that's one way. I like to cut the angle the other way as well. Okay, so I'm still here, all right, got my connection. Now, if I find that maybe I can't drive that way, or I can't drive forward, or like it's just not working for whatever reason, I actually pull this knee in instead. So before I was collapsing the far knee, this time I'm gonna collapse this one, all right? As I collapse it, I'm gonna bring my hand up to like the armpit, and I'm gonna like back step. As I back step, I like circle, all right, and I take it down, all right? If that's still like, if you're still struggling with that, I can even stand. Right? So I'm here, I'm starting like standing. I'm taking down. So I'm bringing the leg across the body, and I'm putting pressure in the armpits. So she's turning, and then that makes it fall down. Okay. I kind of mentioned it, but I'm going to talk about it again. All right, is I really need to make sure that you know, she's doing like a good job at blocking with this arm. I need to get rid of this. All right, so like when it comes to wrestling and trying to get in close, if she's got really good frames or her hands or her head, there's no way that I'm gonna get anything on her legs. All right, whether like she's using her head to frame. All right, so that's why I like to use my head to like push it away and like get my head in there. She's doing a really good job framing with her elbow. I need to clear this. All right, so whether I'm on the outside or on the inside, as I said, it doesn't really matter as long as we can get to those legs, get to that end result, okay? The next thing is, if I'm like dropping here and I'm really far from her hips, all right? So really easy for her to start sprawling on me. Like I can try and reach for this, yeah, all right? There's not a lot of hope from that, all right? So I really need to try and get my shoulder, all right, underneath her hips. So think of it like I'm coming under, all right? I penetrate with that knee, and I'm trying to look up, all right? So I'm here, pulling, all right? I take that step. So that's another thing. If I'm far away, you know, very hard to step forward. So I have my feet a little closer. Pulling as well, right? If she knows what I'm doing, she's in tune, all right? She's gonna be waiting for me to try and penetrate. So I wanna try and create that reaction. As a smaller grappler myself, I always wanna try and get a reaction out of people, all right? If I just try and shoot straight for it, I'm never gonna get it. So I'm always trying to get the reaction. If I pull, most people are gonna pull back, all right? If she pushes towards me, I might switch it to something else, okay? But if I'm pulling, most people pull back. That's gonna allow me to get underneath, okay? So by me having my shoulder underneath her hips, very hard for her to sprawl. Even if she does sprawl, I can still finish that pretty easy, okay? The other thing, notice that my head is looking up. So I'm here, it makes it hard for her to sprawl. If I'm looking down, easy for her to choke, easy for her to sprawl. So very important that I'm looking up, all right? Now, really up to you, like you can keep both your knees on the ground if you want to. I like to step this up, all right? But you know, there's not one way to do something, all right? So you figure out what works for you, all right? Different body shapes, you know, height or size-wise, you know, you work with what does best for you, okay?